Meanwhile, the GM meetings are going on down in Orlando. It's really the first time in the offseason that you start to feel the hot stove really heating up. For the Mets, though, as I'm sure many of you have read, the goal is to fill a couple of holes without necessarily having to break the bank. And here's Andy Martino from the meetings.
Mets general manager Sandy Alderson arrived at the GM meetings on Monday, admitting that he really hasn't had the chance to begin the team's hot stove business in earnest yet, having spent all of October finding first a manager and then filling out a coaching staff. He hasn't yet met with agents, but he says he will probably begin to do so at some point in Orlando this week. He did mention, in terms of potential acquisitions, two very familiar names, Neil Walker and Jose Reyes.
We have some internal options. There's some free agents that we might consider. Jose Reyes is a guy that could play there for us next year. So I think there are a variety of different possibilities, and we'll just assess those over the next few weeks.
Is Walker among those?
He's a possibility.
In terms of his overall offseason priorities, Alderson specifically mentioned finding a middle-of-the-order bat, a late-inning reliever, and a mid to back end of the rotation starting pitcher, although that does seem to be a lower priority. He also mentioned some uncertainty around first base. Dominic Smith batted .198 after his call-up last year. He did raise some concerns about his conditioning and his weight. Alderson was asked directly if Smith had already earned the first baseman job going into spring training next year. His answer was he certainly didn't earn it in September. Here are the GM meetings. Andy Martino, SNY.